Welcome back to the series on RSMF, where we explore Relativity's short message file format and butcher up user interfaces. Speaking of user interfaces, that happened. Okay, what we got here is I redesigned everything again. Kind of looks like what we had before, so let me take you through and hopefully this is going to make sense to you. So I'm going to run this application. And what we have here is our path to a DAT file, right? So we want to specify where a DAT file that we're going to be loading is. We have our grid, so let's load it actually. I'm going to click on this, and we're going to load our data to the grid. We've seen that before. Next, I added a few sections for our conversation, right? Remember we had, let's see where we had our specifications here, right? Conversation has to have platform and type, which are hard-coded. So that's what that is. So you can put that in here. That'll just be put in the conversation. Again, didn't know what the conversation is really for, so it's just there, it's static. That's where the values are going to be coming from. And then we have our export folder here, which we'll get to in a minute. The crazy stuff we got going on here is on the bottom. So let me see if I can resize this. Our RSMF load file is going to need number of things. So we're going to need a control number, which is going to be doc ID. We're going to need a family identifier, so we know where documents and attachments are. So we don't have that yet, so we're going to just leave it like that. Conversation identifier, so we know how to group our documents, how to group messages together to create one conversation, which I figure is going to be one RSMF file. I don't think I'm going to put multiple conversations inside one file because at this moment it doesn't seem to make sense to me. So then we have our message type, which was one of the fields for the event. Body, so let's start setting this up. Body is this is like a standard DAT file, so we're gonna use email subject as our body, just kind of like a proof of concept, right? And from is gonna be our sender, and timestamp is going to be our date sent, right? This is like a generic DAT file from emails. This is not really text message data. I'm just using it because I need something. Okay, and then the whole section on the bottom here, it doesn't work yet, but it doesn't need to just yet, right? What we test in here is iterating through records and saving them into a file. So let's do that. So we're going to click this button, generate RSMF, and bam, I'm saying there's a message. Okay, we do need to specify family is going to be same as doc ID. Okay, I don't know why I put that there. Doesn't matter. So we're going to click on that, export complete, and here is our desktop, right? It's on a different screen. And this file was generated. It was named after first control number. And now we can try loading it to Relativity. So let's go to Relativity, new document. I'm going to drag and drop, and it's going to load. And let's see. So it identified it. We're going to click on it. Viewer. Whoa. Okay. All right, so there are a lot of names, and I'm guessing because we took a lot of from names, there should be, oh yes, so all these names, I guess, they're here as a part of this conversation. And if we scroll down, I'm not sure what's going on here. It is probably blank subjects, right? Do we have blank subjects here? Yeah, okay. So that's probably what they are. So we have bad DAT file, but that's okay. For this this is perfect. And so now we have names, we have our subjects, and we have dates. And this so this is looking pretty awesome, actually. So we were able to take a DAT file and convert it into one giant conversation. Is that useful? I don't know, maybe. But here's what I did with conversation field. So let me show you. I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to delete my 37. And if I go to my conversation and I select a different field, like, oh, let's do date sent, right? So if I do date sent and then generate, bam. Now we're gonna have RSMF files per conversation. All right, so let's find documents with the same date. Okay, so 2/1. Scroll over. We got 10/13, right? So 10/13 is right here. Let's load that. Let's do new document, right? Drag and drop. Have a drink. Beverage for tonight. Okay. Clicking on 13. Let's see if we got, yes, okay, we have our conversations here. So we got our 3 messages here, and we had, oh, we actually had all these here, right? So should we have more? Oh yeah, there's even more here. Okay, I don't think that actually matters at the moment because we're using kind of a DAT file. So what I'll need to do is grab some good data that actually contains text messages and doesn't have any like all these weird issues. And we can see if we actually have a problem or not. But so far it looks like it's working. The other thing I did, okay, here's what I did. When I iterate through events, I don't just write them to the JSON file, I also put them inside of a body of an EML file. So now, if we take this guy and rename it to EML, right here. Okay, so we see our messages were added here as well. All right, they're a little hard to visualize. So this is our sender, our date, and our subject, which is the message body. And again, sender, date, and the body. And then in the 2, we have both of the senders here, 1 and 2. So theoretically, if we were to process this EML using application that doesn't support RSMF, it should be somewhat compatible, right? You'll get all the data, and then you'll get the attachments. Okay, now attachments, something I need to work on. So I need to take my attachments now and put them together here with this JSON file. And then theoretically, we should be able to open those attachments through the viewer inside Relativity. It'll link to it. Okay, well, that's where I am for this update. Let me continue working on attachments, right? I wanna find a good DAT file with messages so we could properly test it. That's number 1. And number 2, I gotta get attachments to work. So let me do that. Get back to you soon. Picking up where we left off before, let's I found a good DAT file that has so this is what it is. It's called export DAT. So we can open this, and this contains dummy text messages that one of the people at work had generated, right? So this person had 2 phones, and he messaged back and forth to himself basically with the fake accounts. And this is what this data is. So it's totally fine to use in the video, which is what we're doing. Let's jump back to my project. So now the family identifier field should work. So let's browse to the DAT file. Load to grid. Bam. Okay, and now through the power of artificial intelligence, the software automatically figured out what fields need to be mapped to what, and it mapped them for you automatically. Okay, it's actually, there is no artificial intelligence. I just put a bunch of if-then statements that if the field is ID, control number, doc ID, bag doc, automatically maps it to control number. If it's a group ID, bag attach, it maps to here, and so on. So it couldn't find anything to map to a conversation. But it automatically found other fields, right? Now, the important thing here is we have a group identifier, right? So we should have attachments. Okay, there we go. So you could see this is a family. And if we scroll over, there should be an attachment. Okay, so there you go. So there is a GIF. Not GIF, GIF. So somebody send that over. So now we can try running this with attachments. So conversation identifier, right? Do we want to dump everything into one file? I don't know. All right, let's try. Why not? This is selected. Text. We got attachment paths, names. Okay, so deleted and important still doesn't work. Attachment path and name do work. Other fields does not work. Generate. Oh, well, that was quick. Okay. So we got this guy right here, and now you see it's 6 megabytes, right? So it's pretty sizable. Let's load this guy into Relativity and see what it looks. Drag and drop. Very excited about attachments. I want to see how they're gonna look. MSG. D. Okay, so we got some empty messages. Maybe okay. We have our conversation. Hey, we got attachments. All right. Okay, so we got pictures. So somebody said whatever, and I'm sending you a picture, and there is the picture. I don't know if these are animated GIFs or not, but okay, so here we got some JPEGs that don't display for some reason, and then this is something weird, some kind of plug-in payload. So I have to investigate what that is. Okay, and then there's a V card. All right, so this is a question I have to Relativity folks. How do you access non-picture attachments, right? So should I be able to like double click here somewhere, right click maybe? How do I access this vcard file? Clearly it's there, well, because it says so, but I don't really know how to access it through here. All right, so I'm really happy about this. Okay, the other thing I added is this log. So as it runs, it generates this log. So it's saying working on the conversation, and it's saying unable to convert something to date time. So it logs everything. So apparently we have some date time values here that are invalid. So this is what the log does. It just keeps track of the issue. I'm guessing I will have to look at the timestamp and see if they're actually invalid. Oh, the blanks. All right, maybe it's trying to convert blanks to date time and it's not able to, and that's what gives it the error. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it here. This is looking really good. I'm very happy with this. So I'm gonna go do some thinking of what else is needed. Probably work on the fields, make sure deleted importance and other metadata is included. If you want to get a little bit geeky, I can show you what I did about attachments. It's kind of cool actually. So remember how we built our objects for events, manifest, participant. I built one for attachment, right? Because in our manual we have an attachment object here, right? With the ID, display, and size. So that's what I did here is I built that object just like we did for everything else. But I added another field called source path, and this is what contains the original path to a native file. Specifications don't require it, but I need it in order to add it to the zip file. And so when I loop through my attachments, I'm also logging this path, and before writing it out, I am looping through the attachments and adding them to a zip file. But in order for it not to be added to our JSON file, I have this parameter called JSON ignore, which does not put a source path as a field in the final JSON file. So a little bit of a geeky stuff here if you're interested about programming. All right, yeah, so this is the this is the update. I will work on this some more and let you know what happens next.